Welcome to What You Need Before You Read, the series where I attempt to inoculate you from boredom by injecting a little context and relevancy into your reading experience. For our inaugural episode, we're looking at William Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, and if this is your first reading, I envy you, because you're in for one heck of a play. Twelfth Night, or What You Will, was written around 1601. The first title suggests that the play was meant to celebrate the 12th day of Christmas, or January 5th. But the second title suggests that readers and audience members should just, do whatever they feel like. And this mixture of structured pageantry and off-the-cuff whateverness fits the characters perfectly. And so, it should be no surprise that when Time Out asked its readers to vote on their favorite Shakespeare play, Twelfth Night made the top 10 and was the third highest ranked comedy. But that's not to say that reading Twelfth Night for the first time is a walk in the Shakespeare in the park. Let's look at some of the obstacles when it comes to reading Twelfth Night. First up, cross-dressing. Theater is built on a long tradition of cross-dressing, and though Shakespeare doesn't use it that often, when he does, he gets every inch of material out of it. He especially likes playing these cross-dressing characters for laughs, since the female characters were played by boys, who are now dressed as girls, who are now dressing as boys. Needless to say, it can be confusing. Just remember that by the end of Act 1, Scene 2, you need to catch that the female lead is disguising herself as a man and will be going by two names from here on out. Another obstacle to look for in your reading is the use of twins. Like cross-dressing, confusing the supporting cast with separated twins is a stage tradition that goes back all the way to antiquity. But in Twelfth Night, Shakespeare combines these two conventions into something new, a sister who dresses like her twin brother. On a biographical note, it's worth pointing out that Shakespeare and his wife had twins, a boy and a girl, and his son actually died during childhood. Within that reading, you can see just how much emotional weight Shakespeare gives even this, one of his most absurd comedic plots. And that's what makes Shakespeare's comedies so good, is they still pack a real heavy emotional punch, and a lot of his tragedies are also quite funny in different parts. So one of the reasons why people really like Shakespeare is he kind of defies genre in that regard. But make no mistake, Twelfth Night is a very funny play. The ending get a little sad. There's sad parts, but it's very funny still. Just read it. Anyway, next thing that'll help you out is thinking of the characters. One way to help you navigate is to keep the characters' social spheres straight. The characters can be divided into four groups. You have Orsino and his court, Olivia and her household, the servants of Olivia's household, and the shipwreck survivors / Illyrian citizens. While keeping these groupings straight is helpful, don't be surprised when characters move out of their groups, for that's what drives most of the comedy. As Feste explains, "Foolery, sir, does walk about the orb like the sun. It shines everywhere." There's an abundance of themes to look for in Twelfth Night, but a fun one that most readers overlook is the abundant references to water. The sort of fictitious setting of the play Illyria is an island, but Shakespeare rains down water references throughout the text. Professor of Shakespearean Studies Gillian Murray Kendall astutely points out that characters are awash with ale, or tears, or seawater. So if you're looking for a theme to write about in a paper, water could be your diving off point. If you're wondering, have I seen this before? Chances are, you have. Like any popular Shakespeare play, the characters, plots, and themes serve as abundant source material for writers and artists. Twelfth Night directly inspired Just One of the Guys, a dirty 80s movie where a writer dresses as a guy to prove a point and ends up on a football team. She's the Man, a 2000s movie with a similar premise, only now it's about soccer and the flashing scene is played off camera. Or Motocrossed, the best of the bunch, a Disney Channel original movie about motocross racing and cross-dressing. Also, can we take a second to appreciate that title? Old Billy would be proud. That's a grade A title. Difficulty level, 4 out of 10. Most of the plot moves forward because characters continually trick one another. With all the disguise and fake notes lying around, there are some intentionally confusing plot elements. But at approximately 2,645 lines, it's one of Shakespeare's shorter plays. It has some long lines, especially during the scenes with letters, but just be extra careful to stay checked in during these lines. Remember that if a character is talking for that long, there's a reason for it. Plus, some of the funniest moments of the play come from these monologues. Overall, the enjoyable story and dynamic characters carry the reader along, and if this is your first Shakespeare read or first read since high school, it's a great one to start off with. And that brings me to my final point, ranking the play. This is a personal scale, just my own thoughts, but it's also my channel, so I figure why not? I'm going to give Twelfth Night a 10 out of 10. Top tier Shakespeare play. I have some connections to this play. I've directed it. My wife has played the lead in it. I've seen it many times, studied it in classes. So if I've only read it once, maybe I wouldn't rank it that high. But like I said at the beginning, it's a very popular play, and I think it's one of his absolute best. So 10 out of 10 for Twelfth Night, and we'll see what I rank the rest from here on out. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you're wondering why I started with Twelfth Night, it's because it's the first play in the Shakespeare 2020 challenge, which you can see a link to down in the description or up at the card in the top right corner, where I talk about reading all of Shakespeare's plays this year and tell you why you should too and invite you to join. So check that out. Also in the description is a link to my Facebook page for this Oxford Comma group, which is brand new. I can post some things there that are more written as opposed to video, such as on YouTube. So if you're looking for extra help with English or just a spot to discuss books and poetry and plays and all that sort of stuff, go ahead and check it out. Thank you again so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next play. Enjoy Twelfth Night. Happy reading.